Okay, so here we are, and I hope we can do this very quickly and then get to find the solutions to what we are looking for. Hold my hand. It's been quite a while. I've missed so many of you for so long, but I'm glad that we get to interact. Even if it's virtually, I think for me it brings a lot of bonding. It brings a lot of awakening, and then even after the awakening, that when we do our live sessions back at Thobani Center, then we are on the same page about the beginning of the year. Hawa, thank you so much. Here we are with our pens, with our papers. I'm so glad that we are here. So please invite your friends back in the mentorship group, in the Hold My Hand group, and then on your social media platforms, let's inform them that we are here. And I'm sorry to say we are about 10 minutes late, but again, nevertheless, I'm glad that we are here. Helen, good to see you. And as you come in, I would love to hear from you what, number one, your word for this year is. Number two, what your vision for this year is. That is number two. So number one, I would want Coach Susie, my president. Awesome, they are coming. So I would love to hear what your word for the year is. Okay, what your word for the year, like what are you going to major on? What is your focus going to be? Because if you lack the focus, then that means it's the rest of the year is just going to go by. Catherine, good to see you. Hello, great people. Yes, this place and this platform is filled with greatness, and I know that we're going to tap into each other's greatness. Like Shakira, good to see you. Kobsinje Harriet, good to see you. And I'm not going to go so much into the pleasantries, but as you log on, please, the first message, tell me where you are watching from or where you're getting this from. And then number two, tell me what your word for this year is, and then what your vision for this year is. Remember, when I was posting today, I say that one of the reasons as to why we run in a race, a rat race, and you know, a rat race is when you run and come back to, okay, you're focusing on possibility. That is awesome. Possibility is the word. Possibility is a huge word. And I want to be able to expound on some of these words so that some of us who don't have the words for this year, watching from Kuruma Road behind Uganda House, that is Namfuka, good to have you. What is your word? Hawa, what is your word for this year? That's going to lay a foundation for where you are going to focus. And you know what we usually say, that where you focus, your energy flows, okay? So your energy has to flow somewhere. And that means you are not going to allow thieves, time thieves watching from Chitante, okay, to be better financially and in marriage. That is Susan, okay, watching from Gayaza, okay, that is watching from South Africa, Durban, and then watching from Kagadi. The word is deliberately. Okay, I'm just going to note down these words because these words are quite huge, and I know they are very powerful. The moment you get to know the power in the word and the power in what you choose to focus on, then that drives you. It gives you the impetus, it gives you the courage, it gives you the boldness, it gives you the zest to make sure that you chase after your dreams. Okay, so I want you to be able relearning, focusing only on the positive, on positive psychology. Awesome, that is huge. Okay, good evening, world changers, live from Dubai. Awesome, good to have you, Hamid. And then nice to meet you, Miss Bahati and Prosi Nabide, watching from Qatar. Good to have you. I realize I have a lot of you from Qatar, from Dubai, from yes, I've seen someone from Namibia. Okay, focusing on growth, that is huge. Focusing on growth. Watching from a taxi, heading home. Interesting, Helen. And you're saying that more independently. I would want to read that in detail. Finding myself again. I'd lost myself. Okay, so you are trying to find yourself again. That is a sweet place to be in, because let me tell you, that's going to take all the power and put it back into your hands. Actually, if you're focusing on finding yourself, you are reclaiming your power and saying that, wait a minute, everything else had taken my power. I'd lost myself in chasing after whims, chasing after people liking me, chasing after things that are not in my purpose, chasing after things that do not align with me. I've been people pleasing, I've been doing things, you know, the way everyone else is doing. So right now, I want to find who I am, what I want, what I like, what I love, what I can do different, and how I can progress in life. You are getting all the power and putting it back into your own hands and being deliberate about your growth. JM Kakembo, relaunch. Ooh, you guys are really ahead in this growth game. Relaunch, okay? Now, when you talk about relaunch, I just want to talk about, I'll scroll back and read some of the messages. When you talk about relaunch, this is what you mean, because I want to explain those words back to you so that you can find meaning. In case you need to re-strategize the way, because sometimes we choose words and we don't sit down to understand the depth of these words, like intentionality, relaunching, finding myself, being deliberate. We don't sit down to find out the power in these words, because there is power, okay, in the words. And the moment you focus on how big this is and how this is huge this is, and then you're enthusiastic about it and so excited about it and get to work about it. Don't just stop at being enthusiastic and excited about it and you don't go to work. If you say relaunching, that means you are saying that, you know what, I launched some time back, I found myself some time back, I did some work some time back, but I feel that what I did is not, I'm at a different magnitude and I need to reintroduce myself to the world. Joe M. Kakembo, those are the vibes that you're giving me, that I need to reintroduce myself to the world. I need to relaunch my purpose. I need to be known in a different light. I have known certain parts of myself that I never knew. I have known certain parts of my business that I never knew. I have recollected, I have reflected, I have sat down and understood myself, and now I want to repackage and relaunch and rebrand, because there is nothing like relaunching if you're not rebranding, if you're not repackaging, and if you're not repurposing. There is nothing like relaunching. So JM Kakembo, I want you to go back into the power of the word that you are choosing and then be able to be very deliberate, okay? And what are the action steps of your launching? What exactly are you relaunching? Are you relaunching yourself? Are you relaunching your business? Are you relaunching your purpose? Are you relaunching? What exactly are you relaunching? So that you can be able to repackage it, so that you can be able to repurpose it, so that you can be able to rebrand it. And by the time you're relaunching, because then every minute of this year is going to be you unveiling a layer of yourself to the world that they didn't know, but that again they needed to see. Awesome. I see you, Ethel. You're watching from Chiboli. Good to have you as well. Okay, I saw someone saying that, okay, focusing on implementation this year. Okay, that means you have fed and fed and fed. You have taken in motivation, inspiration, you have taken in whatever it is, and now you are saying it is time for me to go to work, to execute, to get my hands dirty, to fold my sleeves, to say, you know what, here I am showing up and I am taking action. I'm not just folding my hands and expecting that things are going to fall on my lap. That is amazing. Okay, so I need you to be able to let me know if you can hear me well. I need you to give me a thumbs up. I need to know that the sound is so good. I know I've had this feedback, but I need to recheck, because again, I don't want us to keep going in a loop only to come back later and then realize that, oh, this wasn't clear at all and we are not on the same page. George, you are saying that, hi Coach Hilda, about finding myself again. I'm wondering of the steps to achieve that, because seriously, I'm not being drained this year. Yeah, I'm here at Serena Hotel. Okay, you are George, you at Serena Hotel, and you're saying that about finding yourself, you're wondering the steps to achieve that. Okay. Now, the first step is you knew that you had to find yourself. That means there are parts of you that you did not agree with, that you did not like as much, or things that you did that did not sit well with you, but you've been doing them because of status quo. You've been doing them because other people are doing them. And for so long, you have lived on other people's rules of go to school, achieve this and be this, and you feel like it has not sat well with you and it has not gotten you to where you want to go. Now, when I was posting about this live session, there's something that was very, very crucial that I talked about, that some of us launch out with a very terrific speed in the direction that we have not set for ourselves. We run so fast going in the wrong direction, and guess what? We arrive and there's nothing for us. Then we're like, no, this is not where I set out to get. This is not my destination. This is not where I wanted to arrive. But remember, boom, you have arrived. And so the announcer or whatever it is announcing that you're at your final destination. Why? Because when you were logging into that Google map, you put a direction, but that direction was not you. That direction was told to you by your parents, it was told to you by your teacher, it was told to you by your friends, it was told to you by the four people or the people that have been running, or your employer or anyone else. So you put in the GPS, you put in a direction, and then you arrive and they tell you that your direction is on the left. You have arrived finally. And then you look around and you're so disappointed. Like, seriously, where have I arrived? This is not where I wanted to be. I wanted to be in Entebbe, but I am in Namugongo. And what am I doing in Namugongo? You get it? So most of us, this is what we have been doing. So we run very fast in the wrong direction. If you want to get to where you are, first look in the direction. And that is the key. That is why we're talking about the word for the year. That is why we're talking about the vision for the year, okay? And that is why we're saying that take all your power right now to focus and to be able to reflect and to be able to plan, so that when you start running, you do not have to second guess yourself and say, am I taking right or am I taking left? We're going to have all these ups and downs through the year. So you don't want to second guess yourself every moment you get to a crossroad. You want to be able to know, I am taking west and I am going west. This is where I want to go. I'm not going east because everyone else is going west. No, I am going to take the path that is, least traveled, that maybe no one is taking, but that is where I want to go. So when you talk about finding yourself, my dear, that is what it means, that you are saying that, okay, I have arrived at so many destinations that I did not plan to arrive at. And so now I am taking power into my own hands, and I'm getting behind the steering wheel, and I am repurposing and redetermining where I want to go. Now, where do we find ourselves when you say I'm trying to find myself? We find ourselves career-wise, okay? Maybe you went to school, you did a course that you really didn't like, but that was the course. Everyone was telling you it was the in course. And all of a sudden you graduated, but you're lost because you're not passionate. You don't feel like it's your purpose, or it's something that you enjoy doing. You feel like it's a chore, and it's something that is so hard to do, and sometimes you've given up on so many jobs. And you find yourself at a crossroad, and you have to re-examine and ask yourself, is this what I want to do for the rest of my life? And this does not have age limit. It's very possible that you are finding yourself at 40 years, you are finding yourself at 50 years, or you're finding yourself at 60 years. Maybe you've done the same routine for the past 30 years. It could be your relationship, finding yourself, and you're saying, you know what, I have lived in this relationship or in this marriage for so long, but this has not been me. It's the young version of me, the excited version of me, but the one that lacks purpose. And so you're saying, okay, I need to be able to step back into my power, to repossess myself, and to be able to enjoy life, because then how can you have fun if you don't even enjoy the small things that you're doing? So this is you finding yourself at a career level, in your marriage. It can be, by the way, funding yourself financially, and you're saying, you know what, how much do I earn? How much do I want to earn? The people that earn that kind of money, what do they do? So you are trying to trace your footsteps. It's like, let me just give you an example. When there are so many people that have grown up maybe in the cities, and they didn't know where they come from, or maybe they didn't have, but they were not privileged enough to have parents, or their parents passed on when they were very little. And so these people later on in the years, this is what they do. They try to find their roots. So they go back to whichever village someone told them they came from, and so they try to ask around, is this where Mzee so and so is staying? I'm trying to find my uncles, I'm trying to find my aunties. That means that this person has been living in the town, in the chaos of town. They've been living a normal life. Right now they've grown up and they want to find their roots. They want to find their true purpose. Where do they come from? Their true origin, okay? So that is a very huge thing. So number one, you have to be able to sit down and be very honest with yourself. Sit down and be very honest with yourself. There are some of us that have begun this year in a way that we don't understand ourselves. Okay, and you don't understand what's wrong with you. You don't have strength. You don't have the enthusiasm. You lack excitement. While everything on social media is saying different. Everything on social media is saying plan. Everything in social media is saying, write down your plans. Plan for this. Do this. Do this. Everyone on social media, by the way, is an expert in these things. So everyone is screaming. There are events. That is, I took long to even have this live session because everything in the world is screaming. The world has begun, so every one of us, it must be a bandwagon. It is time to do this. It is time to do that. While most of us are like, I want you to imagine a goat that gets into the middle of the road and everyone is screaming, get off the road, but you don't know. You are a goat. You're looking around and you're thinking, I'm misplaced. I don't know what is happening. So many of us are like young children in a field where everyone is kicking, the ball, but you don't know where to run to, which team you belong to, or what you want to do. So we lack the purpose, we lack the energy, we lack the enthusiasm. We are trying to pick ourselves up. We're trying to encourage ourselves. And then some of us are coaches. Some of us are counselors. Some of us are even leaders in our workplaces. And you're thinking, no, everyone expects better from me. So why isn't it that I don't feel the strength to even chase my purpose? I don't feel the strength. I want you to take it slow. And I want to remind you that you are not supposed to run at everyone else's speed. You are not supposed to run at everyone else's speed. This is not a conference call. What you're supposed to do is not a conference call. It's not for everyone, okay? You might as well, this is what I've been saying to so many of us that have been contacting me about the same thing, fog. There's a lot of fog and a lot of mist about our plans, about our visions, about what we want to do this year. So you're still doing what you did last year and it's the new year. So you're thinking, okay, am I misplaced? Has the year begun for me? For so many of you, you actually feel the year has not begun for you. You feel like postponing and saying, you know what, let the year begin in Feb or let the year begin in March because I am not ready for this year, because you feel like everyone else is running at a very terrific speed and you are the only one that is lagging behind. I understand that feeling and it is a normal feeling, and I don't want you to beat yourself up and say, you know what, I'm the one who is less motivated, I'm the one, I don't think I even have a good future, I don't think this year is going to be my year like everyone is saying. The TikToks are saying, your name shall be called congratulations, and then you're not seeing congratulations anywhere around you. You're seeing the normal. Now 2023 is a normal year like any other year. The only difference is what we choose to do, even when we don't feel like it, even when you don't feel, because how you're going to increase your income streams is when you get up and work, is when you get up and think about an offer, is when you get up and think about applying for another job, is when you think about increasing your knowledge, your knowledge and your skills, is when you think. But those things have to have deliberate action. So I'm not saying that, act, run, do this, it's too late for you. No, you are not going to hear that from me. But I want you to take your own growth into your own hands and know that you don't owe it to anyone but you. And guess what? If you disappoint yourself, it is the worst thing you can do to yourself. So take baby steps. Crawl if you must. Limp if you must. Run if you can, fly if you can, but do not look at any other person and tell them you're not at my speed, so you are a failure. No one is a failure, and no one decides for you that you are a failure. Okay, so I don't want you to feel like, you know what, the whole world is collapsing on you. No, I want you to take that demand away from you. I want you to release everything away from your grasp, because you have tried to grasp on so many things. You're trying to lay out your plans. You're trying to pray. You're trying to do this. You're trying to do that. Now, a place of prayer is a good place to start, because a lot of clarity can come out of that, because you don't create a lot of demand on yourself. You put the demand on God and say, God, I am placing this year into your hands, and I would want to do these things and need the strength to do these things. That means you're committing to say, on my own I can't, but God, in your power I know I can. So that is where you breathe and you're like, okay, maybe I will handle one project after another. Maybe I don't have, some of us, by the way, are not even diagnosed, but some of us have what we call that, I wouldn't want to, the neurodivergencies. Some of us have that, so we delay to take plans, and some of us procrastinate because of that, and some of us are just normal procrastinators, and we know that because in this live session, I want us to also talk about the growth gaps and what it takes for us to get to the things that we want to get into, or the spaces that we want to get into. But I want you to, for those of you, and by raise of hands or just signaling me, how many of you feel lost this beginning of year? How many of us? Just give it to me. Just type it down in the comment section. How many of us feel lost? How many of us feel alone? How many of us feel like we are overwhelmed? How many of us feel like, you know what, everyone is doing everything and I am doing nothing, and I feel like the world is running at a very terrific speed? By show of hands, I want to see you, because I want to show you you are not alone, okay? And so you should not think that it's the end of the world. Just type in, just put your hand up and tell me that, you know what, it's me. That is how I feel. I feel lost. I feel overwhelmed. I feel like I am already a loser. I feel like I've already failed. I feel like I don't have proper dreams. I feel like my plans are not aligned. I feel like everyone else is using buzzwords, big words, mega words, like they already have something planned out for themselves. But I am grasping on grass. Okay, I am reading. How many of us, still by show of hands, I want you to show me, like seriously, I'm very serious about this. I want you to show me if you feel like you are perusing through all your social media, feeds, and you're feeling that you're the only one left behind. You are the only one left behind. Like everyone has content to post, everyone has something to say, everyone is having a good time, but you are the only one that has not figured out where you stand and where your year is going. I want you to be very honest with yourself and raise those hands up. Hilda, I see you. Jonathan, I see you. The start, I see you. This is me, my current situation. Jen, I see you. So I want to show you that you are not alone. Lavender, I see you. You are not alone. If you feel lost, if you feel there's a lot of chaos around you, if you feel a lot is screaming in your ears, you're seeing a lot on social media, you scroll through TikToks and you spend an hour and then you are lost. You're like, what am I doing? I should be able to do something useful. Hamid, I see you. Jacinta, I see you. Okay, Winfred, I can see you. Yes, Nahawe, I see you. And Evelyn, yes, that is us. So many of us. So I want us, please go ahead and show me if you are the one that is feeling that way. I want to show you George, Sekonde, and Frida. You are not alone. There are so many of us that are feeling that way right now, and we have not sorted ourselves out. But again, I want to inform you that you are not a loser and you are not a failure. The mere fact that you have not gotten a grip of this year and you have not figured out who you want to be. And I want to tell you that whoever you see showing up on social media or showing up on TikToks or dancing and showing all those nice videos and all those things, I don't want the world to lie to you. There are those, yes, that have figured it out, but I will tell you 98% they're as lost as you. They feel the same way that you feel, okay? But this is the difference between the people that choose to stay in a place of getting lost and a place of failure and overwhelm, and the people that choose to say that, you know what, I am going to move, I am going to take baby steps, I am not going to take giant leaps. Yes, I have faith, but I am going to take giant leaps. Because some of us think that having a vision takes tangible things and things aligned for us to be able to get there. Having a vision takes faith. It's just faith. It's not that there's anything that has been figured out. But we don't live by sight because we are thinking things should have been aligned for me or should have been straight for me. But we wake up every day feeling overwhelmed, but we choose to do one thing right, even if it's to show up. Even if it is to just sit down and face your computer, even if it's to just show up in office, even if it is to just show up and do what you are supposed to do that day at the bare minimum and do and finish it. Like, showing up is something that is very, very, very huge. So if you want to get out from the place of being overwhelmed to a place where you are, and this is what the other thing that so many coaches and so many motivational speakers have told us so many times, that you know what, write a to-do list of like 10 things in a day. Write a to-do list of like 12 things in a day. And so many of you have like 20 plans for a year. And guess what? Some people here don't even have 5 plans for a year, 5 plans figured out. Okay, so this is what I want you to do. Choose one thing you can do and do it right, okay? Even if it's just in a day. You don't have to have 5 things and a list of 10 to-do list. No, it can be as simple as making that call to that client. It can be as simple as having that meeting. It can be as simple as putting on and showing up for those of us, for those of us that are depressed. It can be as simple as making sure that, you know what, I need to consult and I need to make that call. Let me make that call and punch in that appointment and make sure that I follow through and show up for that appointment. So I don't want us to overwhelm ourselves on top of the overwhelm that is already happening. I want us to take it slow and just choose one thing that you can do. And if you do that one thing and you're able to do the next thing, you realize this is what happens. When it comes to confidence, confidence is built, it's a loop that is built by achievement. The moment you're able to achieve one thing, you make that call and it is done. And you're like, no, actually I can show up for that meeting. You show up for that meeting and it is done. And you'll I can actually be able to do this work that I was supposed to do, write this proposal that I was supposed to do. Let me start on it. You write it, because the more you get to do something, even if it's small, you get a bit of contentment and the confidence to finish or to tackle the next step. So that means that you are looping in your energies. You're like, okay, if I did that, then I can do this. If I woke up and showed up, then I might as well, attend that meeting. If I attend that meeting, I might as well do that proposal. If I do that proposal, I might as well shoot that video. If I shoot that video, I might as well do this. So by the time you know it, you have set the ball rolling, not because you put too much demand on yourself. We overwhelm ourselves when we put too much demand on ourselves. I'm like, some of you this year, Philson, I can see you. You're saying, I'm going to write a book, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And then this is what happens. Procrastination sets in, and then you get too much, you've not done anything, but you're still talking about it, and you're still telling people that, I'm writing this book, I'm doing this, and I'm doing that, and I'm doing that. And then people are seeing all those mega things. And sometimes when you look at these people, when they're telling us, I'm finishing this project, and I'm handling this big project. And these days, by the way, I have learned to read into people that talk about some big things. There are those that talk about big things and they're actually doing them. There are those that are posers. They talk about big things, but actually they are doing nothing. They're the biggest procrastinators. But guess what? Because they're talking about big projects, then you look like a grasshopper. Then you're thinking, okay, that person is handling this big project and yet I am doing nothing. I am a failure. I am totally a failure. Okay, so I don't want you to jump onto people's bandwagons. Okay, I want you to be able to set your pace. Your pace is not going to be as speedy as your beginning, but I want you to be able, take inventory of your business. Okay, show up early. If it's showing up, that's why they say it takes time to build a habit. Okay, and so you're saying, okay, I will show up in the morning, I will open at 8 even when I don't have customers. I will do my inventory even when no one is putting me on pressure, and I will do this. So it's a loop that you tie in, and then you get to raise your energy. As you achieve one thing, you achieve another, and then as another person comes to ask you, how do you do it, then you're explaining to them, then you're a bit some of us are mentors without even intending it. Maybe you're mentoring your other business people or your colleagues, and you're telling them, do this, do it this way. So before you know it, you're becoming a kafulu in your own way of waking up early, or doing business, or networking, or whatever it is, or your spiritual growth. And so as people come to you, you have answers to them, and you feel the urge to be better, and before you know it, you are a better person because you took one step at a time. It's not that you're going to take all the steps together. You don't have to have your whole year figured out and you're like, hallelujah, I am done. This year is done. It is my year. Let me tell you, you can proclaim on earth and you can go 31st prayers and all that and do everything and you claim this is my year, and guess what? It will reach August or September or October and indeed it will not have been your year. And like things just moved the way they wanted, it was chaotic everywhere. But guess what? You were moving and you were growing. Okay, so I don't want us to look at life like we have to have everything figured out. And if there's anything I wanted to take off your shoulders today, is the feeling like you're a failure. Even before the year gets into, we get done with the first quarter, some of you are already throwing in a towel. So I just want to unburden you, but again, to equip you to do something about it and be very intentional about it. Okay? So you see, we are all in the same boat. One thing I can do and do it right. One thing that you can do and do it right. Set your pace. Wow. Choose one thing you can do and do it right and give it all your energies. Okay. And even if you don't do it right, come back tomorrow and do something and perfect it. And come back the other day and perfect it. And I just want us, because we talked about the words, so many of us, I can see the words, some of us want to be disciplined. Some of us want to be deliberate. Some of us want to be intentional. I want us to go into the growth gaps, okay? What the growth the growth gaps are. And so many of us know that, you know what, I'm not achieving this. Anderson, you're saying show up at 5 a.m. focus tribe. That is powerful. That is very powerful. Do you know that creates discipline? That creates discipline. The moment you learn to wake up and show up, even if you are dozing off, even if even if you sleep off in the middle, but you show up tomorrow and you show up the other day, that alone creates discipline. It's like a muscle, okay? Before you know it, it's so easy for you to do it, and then it has changed the rest of your life. Some of these small things that we do change the trajectory of our lives, and that is very possible and that is very doable. Okay, so I want us to get into the growth gaps, and I just want to I want us to, for those of us that have identified, I know that those of us that are on the mentorship that have already identified what our growth gaps are, but again there are some of us that have not yet identified what our growth gaps are. Okay, so I want us to be able to go through the growth gaps again, because in order between you, the vision or the word that you have, the word that you're focusing on, and the goal that you want to achieve. And I'm not saying the goals, it's very intentional, because there are so many things that we want to achieve. But between you and the vision or the dream or the no-nonsense goal that you have set for yourself, for example, you want to be a good coach, you want to be a coach that, has clients coming to you, you want to be a coach that grows and is recognized, you want to be a coach that goes into, the public, you want to write a book, or you want to be hosted on TV or radio, or you want to open a business of your own, or you want to get into marriage, whatever it is. Now, there is a gap that is in between your dream and your vision, or when you set your goals and what your vision is, what you envision. And this is what I want to explain about vision, okay? If you close your eyes right now, what kind of house would you, what's your dream house like? Okay, if you close your eyes, whatever picture you perceive with your closed eyes, and you're like, okay, this is the kind of income I would love to have. How much money do you want to earn? Okay, what kind of house? What kind of marriage do you want to have? What kind of children do you want to have? You envision. Envisioning is a picture that you see that is a representation of what you actually want. Okay, that is why we say, okay, when you are vision boarding, okay, some of us have done it out of excitement and not in a guided manner, and we post pictures of the things that we want, and we're like, okay, I want this destination, I want, an aeroplane here, so so that I can also go on a plane somewhere, I want to be able to to go on a vacation somewhere. I want us to take that enthusiasm and excitement. It is, yes, supposed to be there. We're supposed to be excited about what we want, but again, be also realistic that when I look at my life, okay, I know that I can't achieve this because I don't have the money right now, but we are visioning out of faith that this is the kind of life that we want, okay? So that is where the work comes in the middle. Between you setting the goal and that vision materializing, there is work. And that is where we say that in Hold My Hand, we are getting you to where we are getting you to close the gap between where you are and where you want to be. So many of us have where we want to be. We envision with our closed eyes what kind of house we want to stay in, what kind of clothes we want to put on, what kind of places we want to go to, what kind of restaurants we want to go to, what kind of marriage partner we want, what kind of children we want, what kind of schools we want them to go to, what kind of career do you want to create, what kind of coach do you want to be, if you want to be an influencer, what kind of influencer do you want to be, if you want to be a media personality or a media mogul, what kind of media mogul do you want to be? So you have that vision. If you can close your eyes and envision something, this just like we usually say that what you can perceive, you can actually achieve. But I don't want to just say that what you can perceive, you can achieve. I want us to go down to what kind of work we must do in order to get to that check that we want, to get that kind of bank account, bank statement that we want, to get that kind of partner that we want, to get that kind of the children we want and the schools we want them to go to, that kind of vision that we are envisioning ourselves. So what we call the growth gaps are the things that would deter us in this journey to actually get there. And as we go through these, I just wanted us to go through them very quickly. I want you to be able to identify where you fall. And some of us already know our growth gaps, but I want us to identify where we are and what we ought to actually work on, okay? Some of us, adaptability is very hard. What we know, and what we don't know, it is very hard for us to adjust our minds to actually know or to actually know or learn new circumstances, okay? So, for example, through COVID, so many things happened. The new normal came. So many of us it became so hard for us to adapt to the new normal, okay? That is why we had so many coaches, so many motivational speakers saying it's the new normal, you know, so we must get used to this, we must get used to this, we must get used to this. So many things. There was a system overhaul, okay? So adaptability demands that you grow or get to the type of maturity where you know that things do not have to be rigid, but things can change. And when they change, you have to go with the change and be able to actually grow with the change. So many of us, we want things to be how they were, they should be. Nothing should change. So we don't want to rock the boat. Half the time we don't want to approach our bosses. We don't want to talk about anything because we're thinking we're going to destabilize the status quo. So adaptability, some of us, we are too timid, we are too fearful, we lack the confidence that we have not been able to even adapt to the kind of life or the kind of what it takes for us to mature or to grow. And these things are going to happen. So change is going to happen whether you want it or not. So if you are the kind who is flexible and who can adapt to things, then you find yourself actually growing, because for everything that comes and every bad thing that happens, there is always a silver lining. There is always a lesson behind it. There is always an answer behind it, or there is always something to learn out of it. So the people that take long to adapt, it becomes so hard. And so for this year, 2023, if your adaptability levels are very locked and you are very rigid, then you are going to break, because if you're rigid, you break. Okay, if you're flexible, then you get attuned, you adapt. Okay, adapting does not mean you compromise. Adapting means that you choose to grow with the wave. You choose to grow with the circumstances. This has happened. What can I learn? What can I change? How can I adjust? How can I tweak this? How can I, okay, fuel has gone up, and it is have you seen how diesel is still up there, and the price range between diesel and petrol, and that's not what it used to be. Petrol used to be higher than diesel, but right now diesel is so high. And so for the people that are not don't adapt, you will find someone, even if they have some car money, they will say, you know what, let me sell my car, let me get back into, and there is someone else who will say, because we all adapt act differently. There's someone who will say, no, I'm not selling my car, but I'm increasing my earning. So if I have one job, I'm going to get a second job. If I can't get a second job, what can I do? Can I expound on my skills? Can I be able to create a side hustle? Can I? So you are actually adapting. You are saying, you know what can I do better? What can I do different? How can I grow with this, with the chaos that is happening? And let me tell you, chaotic times, so many people grow in chaotic times. That is why they say that so many people become rich during inflation periods and recession periods. Why? Because as most people are giving up, some people are re-strategizing. Some people are going back to the drawing board. Some people are restarting businesses. Some people are, and when you talk about the adaptability, it does not mean that you give up. No. But sometimes it means putting down your tools and lifting another set of tools and saying that, you know, what's going to work on this is not going to work on this. So there are two different sets of tools. So the knowledge and the wisdom this year, people that are going to have the wisdom to know when to adapt, when to give up, when to walk away are people that are going to stay afloat and people that are going to really, really win in this life, okay? Both in business, in your life, in your marriage, it's going to be so huge. So we are talking about the types of growth gaps, okay? So authenticity. Some of us find it so hard to be who we are because we think people are not going to accept those kinds of people, okay? So we find it so hard. So we edit ourselves and then show up as the edited versions of ourselves, and so the people in our lives accept who we show them, and so it's very hard for us to go back into a default setting. So every time living a different life that is not yours or another person's life, or to please as a people pleaser, is so hard. So that is a growth gap. If you know that this is something that you've been doing, it's leaving you drained, it's leaving you malnourished, it's leaving you angry and resenting everyone, because apparently at office they take you as the girl who does not care even if you're abused or stepped on, because it's okay. So it's okay. But again, when someone does something and then you're like, you know, Chirabe, why did they do that to me? No, you did not tell them that you don't like it. Even in relationships, so many of us have not showed up in authentic ways. So many women have been told that you have to show up in a different way, okay? And as a yes person, as you know, as a person who does not have opinion, because men don't like women who have opinions. So you come so different. I'm not going to explain so many things about this, but authenticity. If you are going to be yourself, accept yourself in order for you to create the best version of yourself, because you cannot create the best version of yourself basing on a lie. You cannot create the best version of yourself basing on a lie, okay? Basing on a false foundation. So you have to be very honest with yourself and create a better foundation for yourself and let people accept who you are, even a marriage partner, even at your workplace. Even don't show up as a giver if you are not a gift giver. If you're not a gift giver, don't show up as a yes person if you're the kind who is opinionated. And it doesn't mean that being opinionated has to be disrespectful. You can have opinion but be very polite at the end of the day and have integrity, okay? So I want you to look into these things. Authenticity, it protects your integrity. Exactly. And so belief, it's so easy for us. Remember, we're talking about the growth gaps that are going to delay us from getting to where we want to get. Remember, I told you, no pressure, no one is chasing you. And guess what? Even the people that you think are running so fast, half the time they're not running so fast. Half the time they are showing you what they want you to see, but behind the scenes something else is happening. I'm not saying that all of them, but so many people are living a false life in public, and they are living their default lives out of the public. So I don't want you to be lied to be dragged into making hasty decisions because everyone else is making hasty decisions, okay? So belief is something that we usually talk about, but it's a growth gap. So many of us talk about believe in yourself, but again, you don't believe in yourself, so you don't believe in what you are doing. And lack of belief brings you to places where you have already believed in defeat because you don't believe in yourself, okay? So you come to a workplace and you're thinking, I don't think I'm going to be valued. I don't think they're going to respect me that much because I'm a nobody. Because so you come into every scenario, even when you come to a networking, it's a predetermined. Because belief is something that you have already predetermined in your mind before you show up in any space. So when you show up and you want to do a new course, you show up and you've already said, I think I'm going to fail. Do you remember those days when you used to have predetermined minds about sciences? And so many of us failed sciences and maths because you have a predetermined, perspective about it. So you're saying, I'm going to fail. Sciences are not for me. Math is not for me. So that was lack of belief, because the people that actually took that on, the only difference is they believed they could do it. There are people who repeated. There are people who would, do it again and again. There are people who would smear themselves with chalk, but calculate and do all those things. There are people who paid a price. And guess what? They were able to do it. So that means that we are able to do anything that we choose to do, but self-belief is so critical, because it's going to heighten what you can do, how you accomplish it, and how you can be able to get to the vision that you want to get. Now, that is a growth gap that so many of us are facing. And I want you to be very honest. As we go through this, I want you to be able to find where you are and where you're not plugged in, and why it's going to take you so long. Some of us are talking about I don't want it to be you, but some of us are saying 2023 is my year. But to so many of us, it will be 2027 that will be our year. Do you know why? Because of the growth gaps. Because we have not believed that we can do this. We are not authentic, because we have not, our adaptability we have not worked on. And there are so many things. Boundary setting. Some of us have not set boundaries. Okay? Communication. Some of us are poor communicators. We don't say what we need. We don't say what we want. And we don't say what we mean. Okay? So we end up smiling. We end up compromising. We end up putting our boundaries down. And so people take advantage of that. Some of us lack the consistency. Okay? And I said, what the difference between overcomers or achievers and people that have given up on themselves is, when it comes to consistency, is you don't show up because you feel it. You show up because you know you have to show up. Okay? You remember those days when they used to tell you go to school and you didn't want to go to school, and so many of you actually decided to make yourselves sick, and then some of you will cover yourself so that you can get a bit of of temperature. Some of you would wake up yawning and stretching, and or some of you would wake up and speak like you have flu because you don't want to go to school. So you see, some of these things, we don't do them. Feelings are very whimsy and very fleeting. Okay, you can feel something today and tomorrow you don't feel it. That is why we say you don't marry because of feeling. That is why we say you don't start a business because of feelings. That is why we say you don't ask for a job out of feelings. No, you become the mature you and say, you know what, I will show up even when things are not good. I will show up through the bad and through the good. I will show up because I have to show up. Okay, so it doesn't have to be. And how many of us have based on our feelings to do certain things for so long? I know I have, for so long. But again, feelings don't pay off. They let you off the hook, but again, they make you a failure. So you don't feel like doing it, so you don't do it, and then you wake up and you have not moved an inch. And someone who demanded of themselves, you have to place a demand on yourself before anyone else places a demand on yourself. You place a demand on yourself and say, I am going to show up. So consistency, whether it's in posting, whether it's in talking about your business, whether it's in networking, whether it's in leadership, whatever it is, but being consistent. It is a muscle that you build, and it's a habit that you build. Okay, some of us, courage, we don't have the courage. Okay, and courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is someone who says, I will go at it anyway. Okay, so some of us don't have the courage, and so we sit back, and we don't have the boldness. We feel we are intimidated. We feel we are very timid, and we would rather stay in one place without growth, than risk and be courageous and do something risky that could yield a lot. And so we have ended up not knowing what we could have been, okay? Because we have accepted this version of ourselves for so long, because we want to keep safe. And guess what? So many of us are going to be safe. Even next year, you're going to be safe. Even the other year, you're going to be safe. But guess what? The people that get out of their comfort zones, they're the people that do quite huge things. And they get out of their comfort zones not because it's pleasant, no, because they are courageous, because they're like, I will face it. Whatever happens, I will face it. I've taken on projects that I didn't know I would actually manage, but because I was challenging myself and I said, you know what, I am going to do it. Even if I fail, I will have tried, and I will trust myself. I will thank myself for trying. And guess what? It has opened more doors, and then you walk in, you become courageous. You walk in, you become bold. You walk in, you become courageous. You walk in, you become audacious. You walk in, and it becomes your lifestyle. So the people that we see are doing things with a lot of ease is because they're like, you know what? No, I didn't get here by taking, being so calculative, by being so safe, by no. I got here because I took certain risks. I did what other people were not willing to do. And so I have managed to get here, that I can be able to do the things that I do, live the kind of lifestyle that I am doing, okay? So I've been a very big culprit to feelings. Yes, do not do things. People have thrown marriages of years because of feelings. People have abandoned business because of feelings. People have left good friendships because of feelings. People have lost good relationships because of feelings. In the heat of the moment, your mind tells you that, you know what, you don't need him. And the biggest thing that we need on earth are relationships. It's not money, it's not wealth, it is relationships. So, because they're the ones that lead us to the spaces, open the doors. So, when you say, we don't need him, the ego lies to you, and then you block the person, or you don't want to reconcile with them, and then you throw that relationship away. I'm not saying that certain doors, or we must not block certain doors. There are certain doors that we must block. And it's not because of feelings, no. If you're deciding out of feelings, you will know it. It will be very temporary. And the next day, maybe you're going to regret it. Or after 1 week, you're going to regret it. But again, you have set it in motion. And some of us fear being ashamed, so we do not retrieve it. Okay? So, but if you decide and say, okay, this is a friendship that I've had for the past 5 years. I have benefited a lot from this friendship. This person has done this. It's not good, but I can forgive them. I can either forgive them and still reconcile and go on with them, or I can forgive them and leave them behind, because this is not something I can tolerate in my life. So you realize you are auditing this relationship to find out if there's something worth salvaging. It could be a work relationship. By the way, it could be a job. And you're like, okay, out of feeling, someone said something, and so I'm just going to ditch. I will send them an email, I'll send them a message, I will not show up. The mature you will say, you know what, let me go in, ask for an appointment, talk about this. Maybe I understand, I understood it wrongly. Or maybe I need to be able to salvage this situation. That even if I'm not going to stay at this job, if I can go in peace, you can never know. We will meet. It's a small world. We will meet somewhere, and maybe I will need these people. So you realize that's maturity. You're able to audit this relationship. You're able to know what you're supposed to leave behind. You're able to know what bridges to burn. You're able to know what doors to close. And then you're able to know when to put your pride down and your ego down and be able to reconcile and be able to continue with a marriage or a relationship or a friendship, okay? That is very, very crucial, and that is something that will really, really, really help us, okay? I'm sorry. Okay, so we stopped at consistency, courage, creativity. Some of us just don't want to demand our minds to be creative. We don't like that. And discipline is a huge thing, but creativity, so many of us think it's other people that must be creative, but in all situations you must put your mind to extreme use and be able to see different scenarios and different dimensions and say, you know what else can I do? For example, I'll just weird examples. How you cook rice can be cooked in 10 different ways. How you cook meat, it can be cooked in 20 different ways. How you approach a situation. You can decide to quarrel, you can decide to give silent treatment, you can decide to sleep on it and think over it, you can decide. There are so many approaches to the same thing. So the feelings, again, I will go back to the feelings. Some of us, the feelings tell us there is only one way to do it. So your mind becomes shuts down. You cannot be creative. You cannot look at other dimensions. I mean, you didn't get that loan, but can you fund that business using other avenues? When a loan fails to come through, you will say, okay, how many friends do I have that can actually give me this amount of money? And then you're like, okay, I can be able, I needed 5 million as a loan, but if I took 2 million as a loan from my friends, from those that I have goodwill, I can be able to actually fund this business, start at the lowest. I don't necessarily have to start up. You know, some of us are like, I need 10 millions to start a business. Who said you need 10 millions to start a business? I actually tell people that are doing startups that starting down is a much better way, that even if you had the 10 millions, I will tell you keep the 7.5 million, start with 2 millions, and then grow into that. Know the intricate details about that business. Know what kind of merchandise you need, what kind of visibility that you need, what do your clients need, who are your target audience, how do you market yourself, how do you sustain yourself, what kind of competition are you going against, how do they put up their offers, and how are they promoting their goods, what exactly is happening. You need to learn these things instead of just coming out of the blue. I've gotten 20 millions and boom, you just put it into a business, and then you sit and fold your arms and wait for buyers to come, and then before you know it, you're eating all the samosas, veg samosas, cabbage samosas, and whoever is coming with bunyama, and then you're buying cosmetics, and then before you know it, you cannot pay your own rent. So someone has to pay your rent so that you can stay at the shop and eat bunyama, and then before you know it, you are running into zero, and before you know it, vandoga. No one akuloga. You are just eating away at yourself. Okay, so I want you to be able to look into that as well. Growth gaps. I want you to share with me what your growth gaps, what you think has delayed you to get to where, or the visions or the things that you want to get into. Feelings. Okay. Oh my God, the way I block easily. Feelings. I have lost a lot in every way. I need to grow up. Indeed, sometimes we need to grow up, and sometimes it's so hard for us to face it. Courage. I lacked here. I actually audited myself. That's good. Relationship audit. Yes. I've been a big culprit of feelings. This year, the people that are going to stay afloat are people that are, mature in reasoning, and they put their feelings aside. So we talked about courage, we talked about creativity, and creativity can go into all dimensions. If I talked about each one of these types of growth gaps, it's things that we could talk about for a full session, and we are not able to even exhaustively handle them. But again, I want you to be able to, we're going to get into questions. So I want you to be able to, I will share this list. I wish I could just attach it here, but I'm going to share this list as a comment. And we have discipline. Some of us are just indisciplined. You come to eating, not discipline at all. You have told yourself time and again, I am going to cut down on water, cut down on sugars, I'm going to cut down on carbohydrates, I'm going to cut down on this, but you have not. Like, you find yourself the moment, and I don't know who falls under this category, but I want you to, by show of hands, okay? How many of us, when you decide either to diet or to clean up your eating, you find yourself eating even a lot worse than you used to eat before? Okay, so instead of saying, you know what, I'm going to eat 2 meals or 3 meals a day and I'm not going to snack, so you find yourself actually having like 3 snacks in a day or 5 snacks in a day, or just munching or eating at anything, like you're just filling up your stomach, without even thinking. Or whenever food comes, you look at small portion versus big portion, and you're thinking, no, I will start tomorrow with the small portions, let me eat the big portions. So when it comes to Discipline. So many of us, when it comes to shopping discipline, you get that money and then you look in your wardrobe and you have all the clothes that you're not putting on. But when you were buying them, you thought you were buying the most precious items on this earth. And there's just lack of discipline. The moment you tell yourself, and I've done this on my so many times, I have delayed changing, wardrobes from between losing weight and doing all that and pregnancy and what, and it has worked for me. And I'm like, I could have bought things that I don't need, but every time I want to buy something, I ask myself, do I really need it? And so I'm creating a discipline in myself. And now I don't have to think twice. I look at it, I like it, I smile. I'm like, it would have looked good on me. And I'm like, but do I need it? No, I don't need it. And I move away. And I redeem myself out of so many situations. So discipline comes in a work delivery. Are you a creative? Some of us here are graphic designers. Some of us here are coaches. Some of us here are counselors. Some of us here are content managers, social media managers. Some of us here are media personalities, okay? And there are certain deliverables that you have, okay? But you're just indisciplined that when you're given a time frame that you should deliver this within this time frame, you will find yourself, and then you will tell yourself, me, I'm a last minute person, I will do it the night before I have to hand in. And some of you are running projects, and some of you, and you do not have any sense of order. I remember yesterday I was talking to Tim, and I have this vacancy that is opening up and I need an administrator. And I was saying the qualities that I need in an administrator is someone that is super organized, someone that is super, vigilant, and someone whose things don't fall easily through their hands, and they're able to have a grip of the different things and multitask and do all these things. And I know there are people who are like that. For example, we have Coach Fiona, that woman of Focused Tribe. Indeed, she is focused. And she's the leader of Focused Tribe. The lady can be super on top of her game, and not so many of us are gifted to be that organized and to be that detailed. But again, such people do a very, very good job. Now, there's some of us that are not that gifted, but again, we can be able to practice discipline and say, you know what, why do I wait until the 28th or until the 30th to write a report that I clearly know I have to submit at the end of the month? Why do I wait all these times? So some of us, even relationships, even showing up late, time management, we are just bad at when it comes to discipline. So that is not good. Emotional intelligence is a type of growth gap. Empathy, lack of empathy, energy. Some of us are drained of energy, okay? So in so many ways, so many of us, discipline. Okay, blessed, glorious New Year. Thank you so much. Okay, mega steps, okay, and then feelings, belief, consistency, authenticity, exactly, and then energy. Some of us lack the energy, just the drive, the impetus to drive us towards our vision, okay? Remember we talked about overwhelm, but in order for us to get out of the overwhelm, some of these growth gaps have to be able to be dealt with, okay? So when you deal with one, you're able to see a brighter day. When you deal with another, so you conquer one by one. But I want you to identify, and I want you to write in the comment box, what are your growth gaps, okay? And what are you doing about them, okay? And then I'm going to be taking questions in a few minutes, okay? Some of us lack faith, just the faith. Some of us operate in fear, and we have fed our fear over time. And our fear is a giant that has a huge stomach, okay? So every time you want to do something, a fear just comes in between you and your vision, okay? And will you be able to do it? You come from this village, you come from this background, it's a very poor background, but again, if you so and so failed, so you think you're the one who can do it, but I think you think too much of yourself, I think you think too highly of yourself, I think so. All these things come bombarding your mind, and so the fear takes off. And it's very possible that if you start doing a project, you will fail. But is failure the end of it all? No. So many of us have risen from failure and did it again, and we did it well, okay? So I want you to be able to demand of yourself to build faith, okay, and starve your fears. How you starve your fears is by doing the opposite of what you should have done. If you should have folded your arms and just did anything, and just did anything simple, you go for the harder tasks and say, you know what, I am going to do the hard ones, because then I am going to build my consistency, confidence, I'm going to build my courage, I'm going to build my experience, I'm going to build my energy, I'm going to build, and let me tell you, there's nothing that builds your energy like the confidence that I achieved that, I can achieve this, and I can achieve more. And people that are positive, people that, it's even infectious. You know, when you stay around a positive person, there's a way they feel, I can walk through the wall. There's a way they feel, I can't fail at business. There's a way, even when it fails and it's burnt to the ground, they believe there's a way through. You look at them and they're not shaken. While everyone would have expected that you put your hands on the head and say, oh God, I'm dead. No, they're trying to find another way. They're trying to make ends meet. And then you're asking, what's wrong with this man? Can't they see that it is all done? We have lost it all. No, they're thinking, no, we can actually start from scratch and build something else. And that is the vision, that is the currency of achieving, okay? Never giving up. So we have empathy, energy, experience, faith, focus. Some of us don't have focus. We do so many things. When this one does this, we jump onto that. When we see that, jump onto that. Social media has not helped, so we jump onto every challenge. We jump onto, as in everyone is doing everything, and we think everyone is in Wonderland. We are the only ones that are living in reality. So focus becomes so small, it dwindles, that sometimes you have to take off your gadgets in order to concentrate if you don't have the control. So I want you to be able to refocus, okay, and be able to say, okay, out of this overwhelm. And by the way, one of the things that is going to take away all the fog and all the mist and all the overwhelming feeling that you are currently feeling is the sense of focus, of saying that, you know what, let me focus on one thing. What am I doing? And let me tell you another thing. There are so many things that are on your table, on your plate, that you have not done, you have procrastinated on for so long. Do you want to feel a lot clearer? I want you to choose one thing that you have procrastinated on for so long, and then do it. And focus on that and say, you know what, I am going to focus on this and do it, whether in 1 day or 1 week, whatever it takes, I'm going to do it. The moment it is out of the way, it will feel like you have a pair of glasses, like you can see the world in a different dimension, like you can, you can do things that you never did. So I want you to choose one thing and be able to do it right, okay? And be able to say, you know what, I've procrastinated on this for so long, but right now it's time for me to sit down. Don't start on writing multiple books. No, focus on one. Okay, don't start on posting on all social media platforms. Start on one and say, you know what, I'm just going to focus on Instagram. I'm going to post a post every day, and I'm going to do this. As in, make sure that you do something that you've been procrastinating on for so long. If it's to read a book, don't say, I'm lining up 10 books and I'm going to read all these books. No, just say, you know what, I'm going to read one chapter today. Oh, I'm just going to read one page today. Oh, I'm just going to read one paragraph today, and make sure that you take it out of the way. If it is a call that you have not made, if it is someone that you wanted to meet, if it is a consultation you wanted to make, I want you to get that out of the way, because it's going to open the way for you, okay? And then some of you have promised yourself, you're like, I want to consult about making money, about increasing my streams of income, about being a coach, about being a counselor, and you have procrastinated for so long because you're saying, I don't have money. Let me tell you, there are people that have signed up for the mentorship course, and they actually didn't have any coin, and they came clean and told me, I don't have money, but I'm signing up for the mentorship, and I'm very sure I will pay it. There are people that have gotten to graduation day in the mentorship and they have not paid even a coin. But they have come to my inbox and they're like, you know what? I really want to graduate. I want to be on that activation list. I have not gotten money, but I give you my word. I am going to pay. Even if it's how many months from now, I am going to pay. And let me tell you, I have seen people take strides. I have seen people grow. I have seen people, gain experience. And I'm like, how comes? The people that seem like they have it all figured out, most times they never take the courage. But the people who have nothing totally, they strive and make ends meet. And I'm like, you know what? It's just the willingness and the discipline to get out there. So fear is your growth gap. That is Janet. Fear is your growth gap. So you starve your fear and feed your faith. That means doing what you're not supposed to do, what you don't expect. You surprise yourself. Okay, you wake up and you have set up an online class, and you're like, we are going to learn, or we are going to learn Quran, or the women, or we have this and this, and then you show up and do it. The next time you'll be less timid. The next time before you know it, you are a kafulu. Okay, so you have stabbed your fear, you have fed your faith. So faith is the evidence of things that are not seen. Okay, so you just claim it and say, I'm going to be a powerful Muslim coach, I'm going to be a powerful Christian coach, I am going to be a powerful. So the willingness to show up every day, the willingness to be consistent, the willingness to close these growth gaps, the willingness to be disciplined, the willingness to get experience, the willingness to be empathetic, the willingness to get courage, the willingness to do all those things are the things that actually set the ball rolling. And then 5 years from now, you will look back and like, how did I get here? And you'll be like, but you know what? I put one foot in front of the other every day. I did not run like in Zikuru. I did not go for Olympics like the big runners. I did not train so much, but every day I put one step in front of the other. I put one foot in front of the other. And this is how far I have reached. And you'll be so surprised that you're going to get into so many places. Forgiveness is one of them. Grit. Grit is the ability to stay stuck onto an activity or something, even when the world around you is chaotic and everything else is saying you should have been slippery, you should have fallen down, you should have given up. The grit, okay? Do you see how when you're walking on slippery surfaces and you have rubber under your feet, and how you walk while everyone, the sandals are slippery, while everyone is holding on, because you have rubber under your sole, you are able to walk majestically. You don't fear whether you're going to fall or what, because you are held firm on ground. Now, the grit is what grounds us when situations become slippery, when there's a new normal, when there's adaptability for us to get into, when we have to be flexible, when businesses are giving up, when people are going under, when companies are closing, when marriages are shutting down, when divorces are happening. It's the grit that gets us grounded. So I want you to be able to develop that in your life, to be grounded no matter what is happening around you. And being grounded does not mean to say, hey, look here, all guys, oh, I am grounded, I am stable. No. You are sure that where you are is a great ground. And this is where the Bible makes me so happy. Excuse me, when it talks about you being planted by the waterside, and that your leaves never go dry, and that you bear fruits in your own season. Now, that is grit, that is firmness, that is not fumbling around, okay? That is being sure that I have a root that is deep enough to the source of the water, that in my season and out of my season, I am going to bear fruit. That I will stay fresh the whole of the year. And this is what, for some of us, this is coming from the background of religion, or what our belief systems are, okay? So when you believe in God and you're like, you know what, in season and out of season, I am going to stay grounded. I am going to, keep going, okay? I don't have to face these things alone. Me and God are the majority. And I don't have to give up, or I don't have to throw in a towel. So you realize that you have a source that is everlasting, and that source is feeding into you, and then you are, you are able to have the grit, you're able to have the groundedness, you're able to have the centeredness that so many of us lack. Like, we are like peppers, we are being tossed around, okay? So I don't want you to be tossed around. I want you to be firm, okay? A person that is firm is a person that can be trusted, is a person that is trustworthy, is a person that is honest, is a person that is can adapt easily, can be flexible, is a person that is empathetic, is a person, why? Because you are firm, okay? You're not just carried away by everything, okay? And then we'll say humility is another thing. Some of us are not humble enough, or humor and playfulness. Some of us are too serious. Growth gaps: influence, joy, judgment, leadership, love, mindfulness, open-mindedness, planning and time management, purpose, resilience. Okay? When you say, you know what, I am resilient, I will bounce back no matter what. Whether I fall 1,000 miles away, whether I am tossed around, whether the winds are big, I am resilient. I will bounce back. I will show up when you least expect me. When you think you have buried me, no, I'm showing up. Just when you think I am done, no, I am not done. Just when you think I have given up, no, I was just, under there studying and doing things and, coming back and planning and preparing. Okay. So I want you to be able to be that kind of person. The self-compassion, just like I say, don't be overwhelmed. All these things that happen, the fracas, the society, everyone is screaming something. Do not have self-compassion to say, you know what? No, I will be grounded. I will move at my own speed, at my own pace. I'm not going to follow everyone, because you don't know where everyone else is going. Everyone has their own mission. Everyone has their own calling. Everyone has their own bouncing back time. Okay, there are people who will bounce back so fast, and there are people. Have you ever seen movies where the star has been bombed, and it takes long to even show that star ever came up? And that is where I keep saying, but what were these producers up to? How can you kill a film star? Clearly, movie and blockbusters have changed so much. Our days, we used to have the Van Dams of those days. We used to have, as in they're the film stars, start afar. But these days, star afar, mid-film, star food day. And then you're like, why am I watching this movie again? Okay, so many of those things come to my mind when I think about self-compassion, self-control. Self-control. Let me tell you, in this world, you're going to have people that are going to annoy you. You're going to have people that are going to want to compete with you, even when you're not competing. You're going to have people that are going to want to pull you down. You're going to have people that are going to say something against you that you never imagined anyone could say. But let me tell you, in such moments, that's when you need to have self-control. That's when you need to retreat into yourself. That's when you need to take growth into your own hands, into your own matters. That's when you need to close out the outside noise or the external noise and say, I am staying focused, and I am staying, I'm resilient enough, and I am growing, and I am grounded, and I am centered. Okay, like other things do not shake you. Even when they say the biggest things and they say, you look at them and you're able to even smile. You look at them and you're able to even wave at them. You're able to say, you know what, I've been through worse, and that is something that it can't kill me. Words cannot kill me. They don't have power over me. I don't know what you think about me, but what you think about me, I care less, because I don't want to know. I care about what I think about myself, what my God thinks about me, what my family thinks about me, and I care what I think about myself, because I am the first person that must accept myself, love myself, believe in myself. So the biggest battle I have to overcome is with myself, not with anyone else. Our biggest quarrels are not with the world. Our biggest quarrels are not with our boyfriends, with our husbands, with our bosses. Our biggest quarrels should be with ourselves. What am I not doing? Why is it that I am late? Why is it that I can't do this? Why is it that I'm procrastinating? Your biggest quarrels are with yourself. If you want to be the best version of yourself, yes, all fingers should be pointed at you so that you can close the growth gaps and then be able to grow into the person that you want to grow into. Social intelligence, by the way, it's so being a human resource support person and positive psychology, social intelligence is so key for us, okay? Because then we learn what to do and when not to do, okay? And then support, then teamwork, training, and education. You find what is your growth gap, because your growth gap could be that you need to upskill. You need to be able to get another skill, or you need to be able to learn something. So you're able to do that, okay? So, and the other thing should be vision. Some of us lack the vision. We don't have the picture. When you close your eyes, you see nothing, because you have been defeated by where you come from, but by your ancestral things, by where your families come from. The noises have been too much that you have believed the noises, and now you don't have the vision, or the vision has died totally. That when you close your eyes, you only see yourself living in one room. When you close your eyes, you only see yourself riding a bicycle. When you close your eyes, you only see a not good enough relationship for yourself. So many of us, we have visions that are long dead, and so when they tell you close your eyes and envision the kind of life you want, some of us, you you cannot even do that. Like you don't even have a vision. You are just dead from inside. And so that is where you need to pick that up again and be able to dream again and be able to build your vision again and be able, because you need a driving force. And a vision is like having a ball and chasing a ball in the court. But if you're running and you're chasing nothing, you might as well not live. But if you're running and you're chasing after your vision, then you're strategizing. Should I take the ball through the midfield? Should I take it through the wings? Should I, what should I play defensive? Should I, attack? Should I, what kind of ball game should I have? Because life is a game, and everything that we do is in that way, okay? And the last one is wisdom. Even the Bible says that if you lack wisdom, seek wisdom, okay? Seek wisdom, like in everything that we're seeking to do this year. Seek wisdom, because there is a difference between knowledge and the wisdom. Wisdom is the applicability of knowledge. That even if you listen to all motivational speakers in the world and you don't have the wisdom to apply that wisdom, in that knowledge into your business, to apply that wisdom into your relationship, to apply that wisdom into your personal finances, to apply that wisdom into your child upbringing, to apply that wisdom into business operating or business startups, it will never materialize or even get to anything. So for anything that you're thinking about, seek wisdom. And wisdom is something that you can seek. I like how the Bible puts it, that wisdom is deep. It's only the deep people that can actually get it. That means you pay a price to get wisdom. That is why we are here, so that I can encourage you, so that I can tell you that, what, it is actually possible. So that I can tell you, you're not alone. For the people that are feeling chaotic and overwhelmed right now, you are not alone. But again, you can grasp one thing. But again, you can dream again. But again, you can forgive yourself of things that you have not done in the past, and you can be able to start the journey again. Okay, so you realize that we need wisdom above everything else. We need wisdom, because it's through that wisdom that we're going to understand. It does not help to take in, and then not do. Okay, the wisdom is the one that helps us actually do. Okay, the wisdom is the one that helps you to get out of that bed and apply for a job. Get out of that bed, start that business. Get out of that bed, you go out, even kukwana for a man. That is wisdom, because you're thinking, yeah, I know I must get into a relationship, but I'm not going to get into a relationship by just looking good and walking around. I might have to create friendships. I might have to dine one or two people, take them out. So pray for wisdom, seek wisdom. Wisdom can be sought from people. You sit with someone, you consult. There are people, for example, I am not a social media strategist. If I need social media strategies that can actually help me help better people and be able to transform people's lives, I'm going to go to an expert. That is me seeking wisdom, so that I can be able to accomplish my dream in that particular area. And I have sought wisdom countless times. I am not enough in myself, but I know that with other key pillar people, I can be able to actually go very far. If you lack wisdom, you should ask of God. I was reading that comment, that if you lack wisdom, you should ask of God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. Wisdom is very, very, very strong, and wisdom takes humility. And part of the growth gaps that we talked about, there is humility. Some of us are not humble enough to admit we don't know certain things, so we end up just showing up and going astray. But it takes humility to know I don't know this, to know that I need help in this, to know that I need help with a personal financial manager to be able to help me, to be able to know that, okay, if I want to learn counseling, I should be able to go under the mentorship, or to know that if I want to know how to operate a business, I should be able to seek. So humility is the vehicle through which we gain the wisdom. That it's the price that we pay to get the wisdom. That I am humble enough to know that in myself, I cannot do everything. I cannot know everything about parenting. No, I will go to a parenting coach. I will not go to someone that has more knowledge, that has been there, done that. And I will be like, what? How do I go about this? That is seeking knowledge, and that I go and apply in my own life, and doors are opening, and I'm living a happier life, and I'm able to do marvelous things. Okay? So I want us to have a bit of some questions if you have a question, or if you want something that you want elaborated, or maybe you want something that you want to know more of a growth gap that you're going through. It's possible it's not something that part of the things that I wrote down here, but it's something that you're going through and you would love more light on that. We can talk about it now, and I would just love to hear from you. For those of you that have just joined, I know that you can go back and watch this all over again after we are done. But again, so glad to begin this year with you. So glad that we are alive. I mean, the foundation of everything that we are going to do lies on one thing: that you can breathe, that you are okay, that you are here. Now, that one, it makes me a very happy person. Above all that, everything is figure outable. We can figure out everything, okay? Whether you feel overwhelmed, we can figure it out step by step. We don't have to rush. Whether you feel like you are a loser, we can figure that out. And some of us, we get to, I'm still looking out for those questions. So wisdom is measured by the fruits we bear. Exactly. Wisdom is measured by the fruits we bear. Have you ever seen someone, they say something and you hold your ears and you're like, is this, as in, has she just said that? As in, what kind of person? Her age? Okay. So the fruits that we bear, the actions that we do show that we have wisdom or we lack in wisdom. I'll surely go back and watch. I have just joined. Good to have you, Sarah, and good to have you the start. Coach Fifi enlightened me. Learning takes time. It actually takes time. Okay, so you can't grasp everything in a go, but that is why we have these sessions, so that we can go back into ourselves and be able to reflect. And I hope that this sets off the alarm for you. Hello, Hilda. What can I do with a poultry project? The zeal has been on for close to 7 years now. Okay, now Geoffrey, I don't know if I can call you Geoffrey. If something has been consistently on in your life, that means the only way to know if this is something that can stick, because so many of our ideas, it's like we are throwing mud on the wall to see what sticks and what doesn't stick. Most of the things are trial and error, and you can never know what is truly your purpose and what you're passionate about until you do it. That is why we say that trying out things helps you figure out where your interests are and what you're not interested in. There are things you will do and you'll be like, what was I thinking? Why did I even start this project? And then there are things that you will do, and even if all the birds died, you will buy more the next day, because you'll be like, now I know a different way to do it. Now, but I still feel the zeal to do this. If the zeal has kept on for 7 years, that's proof that you have enough stamina to sustain a concept or to sustain an idea. So right now what you need is the wisdom to apply and to be able to start small and see, okay? Because many people do poultry because, I mean, it's a business, but it has seasons. That means you have to feed before you can be able to get, whether it's the eggs or before you can get the meat to sell the birds themselves. And then the cycle begins again. And the people that have done that for so long, there are so many people that have become billionaires and millionaires because of that, okay? But again, there are those that have tried and failed. So that means the difference is in trying. And the people that are passionate, even when you fail, you are resilient enough to bounce back. Even when you fail, you are resilient enough to bounce back. And you'll find that the people that have stayed steadily in this business failed multiple times, like 5 times, but when they started the 6th time, they never went back, because now they knew all the loopholes, they knew all the, the hurdles, they knew what would come when, they knew when to immunize, they knew what kind of water, what kind of temperature, what kind of, they knew what kind of sicknesses would come, they knew what is the off season, what is in season, they knew that, the broilers work better than, so they know. But all these things are figured out when you get your hands dirty, when you start doing. Now, before you start, you will never know the whole truth. People can tell you, oh, poultry is very profitable, but you've not yet started. So if you go and say, but so-and-so told me, yes, so-and-so told you. But when you start the process, you're going to have to skip the hurdles, you're going to learn the hard way, you're going to learn new insights, and some of them are going to disapprove what you knew, or some of them are going to actually just cement what you knew, and you will be able to run with it. So I will say, if you've stayed with it 7 years down the road, I will say, get to the action part and see how it unveils. If you get to the action part and get somewhere and like, Why did I even start? I don't think I was just passionate about it. I think it was just an idea that I really liked, and I liked it for 7 years, but I don't think it's taking me anywhere, because if you're passionate about something, you will actually know it, okay? And some of us just have to create that discipline. Some of us, and this generation, like most people like to call it, it's a microwave generation. There is a way we want simple things, okay? The people a long time ago did not look for simple things. They used to try and try again and try again the different times and try. How are we able to have lights? It's because whoever discovered light, tried to light that bulb more than 100 times, 200 times until something could come out. But if you had tried once and stopped, maybe we would not have reached that kind of evolution. But right now, here we are, okay? So I don't want us to be this kind of generation, both the millennials and the Gen Zs and all that. No, I don't want to be, I don't want us to be that generation. I want to be the generation that works hard. I want us to be the generation that is courageous. I want us to be the generation that takes hard decisions and thinks about them and are able to come up with a solution instead of just quitting and quitting and quitting. We're quitting relationships, quitting jobs, we're quitting businesses, we're quitting everything. Why? Because apparently social media has shown us there is what we call soft life. But what is soft life without money? What is soft life without hard work? What is soft life without forgiveness? What is soft life or good marriage without work, without collaboration, without, resenting people and being able to accept them and being able to work at your relationship? So I don't want us to be that kind of people, that even when you are not passionate, even when you're passionate about something, it's going to get hard. But when it gets hard, do you still stick on it? Do you still go? And do you still give it time? Do you still give it time to grow? Otherwise, some of us have aborted so many missions that could have turned out into very good fruits, but we have aborted them. Okay, so Geoffrey, here you are, please. Okay, you're saying thank you, God bless you. Okay, oh, shopping clothes, discipline, exactly. And now those that have gotten into the coaching arena, right now you should know, because some of you will be called for interviews, TV interviews, what, and then you have to be very deliberate about your wardrobe. You have to look the part. You have to know, how do I want, what kind of person, how do I want to display myself, to show off in the world, okay? So instead of just buying leggings, every time you buy leggings, you buy 10. Every time you buy patras, you buy 20. Where are you going to put those patras on? Okay, you need proper dresses, you need proper pants, you need proper suits. And sometimes you don't have to go and say, you know what, yes, we are used to buying so many things at a cheap price. You can say, you know what, I'm going to go mid-range, but I'm going to buy 1 or 2 pieces, and then I will buy 1 or 2 pieces after this period of time. But there will be good pieces and good pieces that can take me for a long time. But because we want, and these business people, they come to your office with a chivera that is full, like 100 clothes, and then you choose like 85, and then you go home and you put on like 4 of them, and after putting on 4 of them, you're not able to use the rest, and that is potea, and then you go back into the same cycle, and we never learn. So that is a problem, okay? Sarah, you're saying that all I need is someone to hold my hand, so I want to join soon. Okay, that's awesome. We are here. True. In business, we don't mind those who laugh. Chimala nechikwatayo. Exactly, Sarah. My question is, can I join the yes, accelerated mentorship in July? I'm abroad and I'm coming back home in June. I kind of know what I want for my life. That's awesome. July, we will have an intake, and you can be able to come on. Okay, you're saying so refreshing. Okay, Sarah, okay, what's the best way to comprehend and contain knowledge? What is the best way to comprehend and contain? Now, let's look at those 2 words, comprehension and containing of knowledge. But comprehension leads to containment of knowledge. Comprehension is full understanding, okay? Knowing that, you know what, I am learning or I'm reading about personal finances, and most times you cannot learn without application, okay? Learning without application is more like the theory part. It never gets you anywhere. Yes, it's a feel good. You envision, you're like, oh, I'm going to make this much money, and then I'm going to maintain it like this, and then I'm going to manage it like this. But get to the nitty gritties of how much do I earn, and so what are my expenses, what can I do to, to invest, or what can I do? So you go into your real life. How you contain knowledge is from reading whatever theory you have read, you go into your real life, you apply. And that is why I say that it's so crucial to have wisdom, because knowledge alone is not enough. Okay, I have a guest. Hi. So knowledge alone is not enough. Otherwise, we've had so many people. Have you seen professors with how much knowledge they have? And you find a professor holding a chikapu. You find a professor and they look weird, okay? Like, the wisdom is lacking to apply. But when they calculate that physics on the chalkboard, you're like, I wish you could just put this physics that you know into application. I don't know where your life would be by now. But they can only do bare minimum, because they know that I only have to be in an institution and I only have to be a professor, so I can only teach, and that is as much as their knowledge has told them, okay? But it takes someone opening their eyes and telling them that, you know what, you're going to retire. Where is your family going to live? Yes, you've been given a house by an institution, your car is being fueled, but after you retire, you're going to have to buy your own car. You're going to fuel your own car. That is why most of them, when they retire, within 4 years, we have made the research, they die. Okay, why? They never use and that's why beginning for us to even begin the accelerated mentorship, it was because someone asked a question. We were in Barara and someone asked a question, and this person was more than 60 years old, and they were retiring from National Water, and they were used to having a good life, fully furnished house and a car, and everything is catered for. And now they have to face unemployment. Even when they have the small pension or whatever package to take home, they don't think it can take them that much. But they don't have a skill. All they knew was to sit in office. It has AC. They make decisions. They fire, they hire, and then life goes on. But right now, they have to get on the road, fuel their own car. That is money. Buy their own car, have their own house, and then live a life where everyone else can be able to respect them. So it was so hard. And that is why we had to get into skilling and be able to find purpose and be able to find your passion and be able to do it even alongside your career, so you can develop that and be able to do what you love alongside whatever you're doing for money. So it's very possible, my dear. You're saying that, let me see, I need someone to hold my hand. I think the question was how to comprehend and contain. Knowledge, how you contain is you apply. Okay, full stop. How you contain is you practice. The moment you practice something, over time, it becomes your second nature. Like, you don't have to read to understand. You have already applied, you know firsthand what has happened, and so you become the best teacher to everyone else that is out there, and then you're able to help so many people. Okay, our live is about to come to an end. This one, Anderson, what's the best way? I think we've explained that. Glad to be here. What do you consider when choosing something to mentor or someone to mentor you? Jonathan, I hope you were asking, what do you consider when choosing someone to mentor you? Excuse me. Now, when mentorship, I want us to be very, very careful, okay? Because we have so many mentors these days, and these mentors are not mentors in theory, okay? And I'm not saying that a person that has not done something can't mentor you, but again, when you find someone that has applied, for example, let's talk about poultry, like Geoffrey was asking. Someone has gone through poultry. They didn't just read about it, okay? And then they have all the knowledge. You know, at 2 months, you have to do this. You know, at 1 week, you have to do this. You know, this is the average temperature that they need. You know, these are the sicknesses. These are the type of sickness. You know, all the theory. So when you go to such a person and they're calling themselves a consultant and they want to mentor you in that business, they will give you all the head knowledge, okay? And then You will go into application, and guess what? It will be a totally different story. So whenever you come back, there is a difference between what they told you and what is actually happening in real life. So that means you can't keep asking from them because they are deterred from reality. And that is where mentorship becomes so hard that not everyone has to mentor you. A person that can mentor you is a person that has done that, has been there, has walked the journey, and they know firsthand what has gotten them to where they are. And they will tell you, ditch all the knowledge that you have, grasp this wisdom, run with it, and whenever you face a hurdle, run back to me. I will tell you how I overcame it. And then you can go try different ways of overcoming it. That is why we say that a mentor is a guide on the side, a person who walks a journey with you. So that means you have to find someone who is willing to mentor you. Number one, it has to be willingness. Who is willing to mentor you? Number two, they have to have the experience that you want, the experience that you are looking for, okay? Number three, a mentor has to be someone that is not going to compete with you to shine in a certain space. For example, when I took on the mentorship of the accelerated mentorship, and I usually tell all the mentors, all the coaches, all the counselors, all the content creators, all the TV personalities that I mentor, I'm like, I actually want you to outshine me, because that is how I will know that I have done a good job, okay? Be celebrated, get out there, do more than what I could ever do, get out of your way, get out of your comfort zone, and I am willing to cheer you on. I am willing to be here to hold the ground for you, to hold the space for you. Whenever you need me, I will be here. Whenever you want to call, I will be here. Whenever you want to meet, I will be here. But I am not the kind that wants to compete for space with you. Why? I've been there, I have done that, and now I know that we need more people in this arena. We need more coaches in this arena, because I am not going to do the work alone, and neither can 100 people do the work alone. We have so many people that are really stressed. We have so many people that need help. So we need an army, and that is what we are doing in Accelerated Mentorship, creating an army of transformers that can be able to, and gladiators and freedom seekers and world changers that can be able to go and replicate that message and help other people that I can't be able to help, okay? So a mentor has to be able to be happy for your growth and hold space for you and even pray for you and encourage you and push you on beyond the monetary value, because some mentorships cost money while some mentorships are free of charge, okay? So when a mentorship costs money, the value that you get out of that mentorship should be more than the monetary value that you paid for it. And this mentorship has to be a lifelong journey. It doesn't have to be just for 8 weeks or 1 year and then a person leaves you aside and then goes on their merry way, okay? So I want you to look at this with very carefully while you're choosing a mentor, because sometimes mentors place glass ceilings on their mentees, okay? So that how far they have gone is only how far their mentees can go. No, I believe that people that I'm mentoring in this generation are going to occupy places I've never occupied. They're going to go to countries that I've never gone to. They are going to earn money that I have never earned. They are going to be celebrated in mega ways that I have ever been celebrated. My generation is coming to an end. A young generation is blooming. Why don't I give them all the support that they need, or the greatest push they need, the kind of prayers that they need and the encouragement that they need, that when I look back, I'm like, I did my part. They are running their race, and so I am encouraging their race. So I want you to be able to be very careful while you are choosing a mentor, because a mentor makes you or breaks you. And then you know that you have a right to change your mind on the way. If the mentor is not playing their part, or if the mentor is not doing what they are supposed to do, you can actually change your mind and change mentors, okay? That is allowed. You're not supposed to kwesiba kumuntu and you're like, no. No. And then a mentor does not own you, does not own your destiny, does not own, no. A mentor should be someone that is very flexible to let you go, to let you grow, to let you nurture yourself. Because guess what? The people that are under me, not everything they know they're going to get from me. No. There are so many sources of knowledge. And that is why I usually tell the people in the mentorship that woe unto you if you're only basing on the mentorship and the knowledge that I'm giving you for you to grow. Then you are going to be stunted. I am giving you the best that I can give you, but I can't give you everything. So research, follow other people, have other, learn from other people and grow as much as you can. So I am not placing a glass ceiling on you. I'm only showing you that it is very possible to penetrate and it is very possible to grow beyond your wildest dreams. You are the only person that can stand in your own way. Okay. So I really love that you get a mentor that can be able to hold that space for you. Okay. Bad days and lack of inspiration knocking. How do we stay positive when the bad days come, when the lack of inspiration comes? I want us to be able to look inside us, okay? Because we are used to hearing from everyone else. We are used to getting motivation from external sources, but you realize that that motivation does not stay long. No, it doesn't. Okay, it gets time to a time and it wears out. That means you have to be able to build your inner systems inside of you, and those are the growth gaps that we talked about. The self-belief, okay, the self-forgiveness, the empathy, the self-compassion, the consistency, the discipline, that even on the days where the motivation and the inspiration are not there, because motivation and inspiration can be external, you can be able to look within and look yourself in the mirror and say, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. And look yourself in the mirror and give yourself a high five and say, I'm going to win. I am going to come out an overcomer. Because here we are professing words, not because they are, but we are professing them because that is what we want to get into. Because sometimes we must speak into our minds. Our minds are the hardest things to speak to because our minds buy more into negativity than positivity. Our minds, let's say it's like weeds. Weeds grow everywhere, even on concrete, even in the midst of the road. But again, if you want to plant good seeds inside of you, it's like you are planting apples, and apples can only grow in Cape Town and Kabale and a few areas of Kenya. It does not grow everywhere. You have to mulch, you have to, to dig the grounds, you have to be loam soils, you have to be hilly grounds, has to be like, it's very complicated. So even us, motivation, inspiration, it's very complicated. We can catch the fire in the moment, but again, that fire dies out tomorrow, even the next minute. Or you can go to a conference, catch the fire, the motivation, shout and say, this is it, I've gotten to my breakthrough. The moment you walk out of the door, the motivation wears out, okay? So that means we must have the inner systems, the inner beliefs, okay, that we can get back into. And even when we seem like we are buried and we have given up and we are just not moving, 1 week goes and we are down, a second week goes and we are down. In the third week, we are like, we're not doing this to be seen, but we are doing this because we have to stay afloat and we have to get out there. So that means it becomes an inner job where you sit down and you speak to yourself and speak to your mind and say, you know what, we have something bigger to do. And you know what, and if you have children, so some of you use your children as motivation and say, you know what, they have to have a better life. I owe them that, and so I owe myself a better life if they're going to have one. So let me get out and work. I'm not going to allow this kind of depression. I'm not going to give in to suicidal thoughts. I'm not going to give in to just giving, throwing in a towel. I'm not going to do that, the inner voice. But that means that we have to be very careful the sources of our information and what we feed our minds. Because part of the information that we store deep down in our minds is the information that comes back in the bad days and in the days where we lack inspiration, to remind us of who we are, to remind us whose we are, to remind us what we can accomplish, to remind us that we are not late, to remind us that we have not given up, to remind us that we can still catch up, that we can still rise up and do good and do something, that it is not too late. We can start now and create a brand new ending. That means that those are deposits that have to be inside of us. Then we say, read, watch as good material, and be in a community where you are nourished. That is the other thing. have a community where you can go to be able to be built. Okay, I will give an example, like our mentorship community. And I usually tell people, the people that are just coming in, like right now, all the world changers too are not yet on the mega platform or the bigger platform of the mentorship. Why? Because the traffic there is too much. Like, there's someone who is bringing out a course, someone is publishing a book, someone has a master class, someone has a course they're bringing out. Like, everyone, all the coaches are doing something. And so even those that are not yet doing anything, most times they come to my inbox and like, coach, it seems like I'm lagging behind. I'm like, no, you're not lagging behind. Take your time, but set your pace. Okay, I don't breathe down your throat, but I tell you, you can start now, you can start next month, whenever you are ready. You can start, but don't delay yourself. So the community, when you see other people doing other things, then you're thinking, I can actually do this. So you need a community. Okay, a community that can act as your accountability partner, a community that can act like a bouncing board, a community that can act like a brainstorm, because there are so many things we have brainstormed in the mentorship, or we have come down as a small group and brainstormed something, a launch of a book or a launch of a project, and other coaches have contributed, and before you know it, this particular coach has a very good product. Why? Because she allowed other people, or maybe she created an event and it was organized by fellow coaches or by fellow mentors or counselors, and they chipped in, whoever had time, whoever had money, whoever had an idea. And so the community pushes you to grow, because you're thinking, okay, I'm in a place where I am challenged. The moment you isolate yourself, all the challenge, you're not challenged, and you do not expand your vision. You're thinking what you're doing is enough, but you need a community. So I think I will just give you those for now. I believe they can be help you. Thank you so much for holding your hands. When is the mentorship program beginning? This year, the mentorship program begins on the 30th of this month. Okay, so it's just like two weeks out. Actually, not 2 weeks anymore, because next week, Monday is 23rd. So we're starting the other Monday, that is on the 30th. And believe me, it's the greatest. It's the greatest investment you can ever make. It's still very affordable. I have not yet put it at worrying prices. Very affordable. So thanks, Coach, for the insightful session. Okay, when hold my hand sessions, we start on the 3rd. Okay, on the 3rd, that will be a Friday. We start at Thobani Center. It will be an awesome time. I can't wait to have that engagement with you face to face. There's a lot of energy. I feed off your energy, you feed off my energy, and we come out encouraged and motivated. Thank you so much for the wisdom. Every time, blessed to have you. Okay, the start, true. Hi, Hilda, you really encourage us big time. Thank you, thank you. We've been blessed. Okay, okay. If you have any more questions, how can one grow their confidence? How can one grow their confidence? Okay, so you realize that confidence is a self-defeating loop. The self-defeating loop of, if you lack confidence, you keep dwindling in lack of confidence until you become nothing, until you can't do anything, until you can't say anything, until you feel you are nothing. Okay, so that means the only way to get out of lack of confidence is by doing something that you thought you could not do. Okay, and then when you achieve that small victory, you achieve another victory, and then you keep thinking, I can actually do that. I can actually do that. I did that. So that means that you keep setting goals for yourself and outdoing those goals, and setting another goal and outdoing that goal. Because when I sit here and tell you, oh, read books and gain confidence, that's not going to happen. If I tell you, oh, work with confident people, you will gain the confidence. Yes, when you are with me, I mean, you will speak big. But how about when we are not together? Yes, it can rub off you, because when I'm confident and you learn to be a go-getter, you learn to be confident, you realize that when you're alone, you'll be timid, but when we are together, you'll catch the fire. So, and after some time, maybe you'll catch the fire. So the power of association is very, very good. That means you must break away from, and timid people love timid people, and people who lack confidence love fellow people who lack confidence. I don't know why that is. I think it's a case of misery loves company. Okay, so even lack of confidence loves company. So if you lack confidence, you realize even the partner you will attract is the one even the boyfriend you will, as in everything that you attract in your life is going to be a certain mediocre level, and until you get tired of that level and say, you know what, I am going to do something out of the ordinary. Some of us can't even go to a hotel and sit alone and eat. Some of you cannot even book an appointment with a person. There are so many of us, and I see so many of us, even on the mentorship, that, by the way, I even call, like last week, I think I called someone and they didn't pick. So they came back in the messages and they're like, Coach, did you call me by mistake? And I'm like, no, I didn't call you by mistake. I was checking on you. And so this person was like, you were checking on me? I was like, does it sound so off, like that I can check on you? And I'm like, I know, but I didn't even think you know my number. But I'm like, you're on the mentorship, and I'm the one who signed you on, and I am concerned about your growth. I'm concerned about but you know, I've not paid the money. I'm like, it's not about the money. For me, it's about you and your growth. The money can come in later, but by the time you signed up, you actually had a vision to grow. So that is what I am following up on. With the money, you will remind yourself. And so you realize confidence will make us dwindle ourselves so thin that we don't think we are worth being remembered, we are worth being recognized, we are worth being seen, or we are worth being appreciated. Okay, so you start step by step by doing actions. Okay, if you are not able to do something, chat up a stranger. Okay, go sit down, buy something, eat, as in walk into a place that you thought you could not walk into, as in do something. Because the moment it's like when a brain grows, it does not shrink back to its original form, because then you have had more knowledge and it has had expansion. It has come into an enlightenment of, oh, okay, this is how it's done, then I can do it. So I want you to be able to teach yourself to conquer those small action points. Okay, set an action, do it. Okay, if you show up early at work, if you put in your report on time, if you're able to do whatever you need to do by a certain time, if you're able to give an elaborate report, if you're able to speak in public speaking is part of what we do in the mentorship. If you're able to speak in public, so many of you have amazed me, even in the hold my hand sessions. For those of you that used to come for Speak with Confidence session, that used to be the first session. We're going to have it back, or starting the third, Speak with Confidence, because speaking, all of us must be speakers, but because of lack of confidence, we find ourselves, we cannot negotiate salary raise, we cannot talk about what hurts us, we cannot talk about, you know, the things that are not going well. So you find yourself accepting the second position, third position, you accept all the wrongdoings. Why? Because you can't stand up for yourself, you can't find words, and you can't find the courage to do so, and the confidence to do so. Okay, so you also need to be trained in that arena. You need to rub shoulders with people that are doing it, but most importantly, you must take actions to do things that expand your wisdom. The moment you expand your wisdom, you don't shrink back. You keep going, you keep going. If you stood for yourself last time about one thing, today you'll stand for yourself about two things. The other day you will not keep quiet about your opinion. The other day you will dress up better. The other day you will negotiate, you will apply for a much better job. There's some of you that have very good papers, but when they tell you UN, then you're like, can UN employ someone like me? Can you say employ someone like me? Whose jobs are those? And I usually say this, and I don't know why most women are the ones that lack confidence, even the guys, but most women, this is what happens. And this was a report that was given to me by a certain research. It was a USA research that they were saying that for most of the jobs and the vacancies that they usually have, they usually get women that are overqualified but lack confidence. And by the way, they don't come through even when they shortlist, they don't come through for the interviews. And they end up having men who are underqualified but have confidence occupy those jobs. And so they were saying, because they know I love women so much, so they told me, what happened to women? Why is it that most women lack confidence? And I was mesmerized. I was like, most women are overqualified for even jobs. Like, they can get mega jobs, bigger jobs, good jobs, but most of them don't apply. number one. And number two, even when they apply, they don't follow through. We shortlist them, they never come for interviews. Like for them, they've already told themselves, I cannot get a job in this organization. And so you've already set a glass ceiling for yourself that I can only work in certain organization, or this is the best I can go, this is the much I can earn, or this is what I can do. You have limited yourself because of lack of confidence. So confidence is when you decide, you know what, let me get out of this boat, let me do this, let me plan and do that, let me go for that interview, let me apply, let me, get out of this kind of thought, let me expand my horizon, let me create more friends, let me network. The things that an introvert or a person that lacks confidence can't do, for you, you go ahead and challenge the status quo. You go ahead and do one thing that you thought you couldn't do. Before you know it, you can actually do a lot more. Okay? Thank you, really empowering us. Thank you so much, Coach. For this session, very enlightening. My gap is oversleeping. If I could beat oversleeping, I would be the star I am meant to be. Filson. If I could beat oversleeping. Now, for some people, I know that you can identify with that. And you're looking at it and you're thinking, I am not alone when it comes to oversleeping. I've had so many people that come to me with the same issue. And they say, you know what? If I get a job and I have to wake up at 7 or I have to wake up at 6, believe me, that job I have failed automatically, because I want to sleep until 9, until 11, and then wake up, do things at my own pace, and then show up. That is why some of them have said, employment is not for me. I would rather be self-employed. And even when they are self-employed, they are not disciplined. Okay? So that means that your focus should be to create discipline in your life. Now, how you create discipline is when you set up systems in your life. So when you set up system and say, you know what, I want to be able to wake up, and be very honest with yourself. Don't set defeating systems. Set systems that can favor you, but not favoring your complacency and your weakness, but favoring you in a way that they don't actually have to astonish you obokukanga. For example, you can say, I'm not going to wake up at 6 or 5 like everyone else. I'm not a morning person, but I can wake up at 7, okay? And I can wake up at 8. Depending on what kind of job you do. And sometimes you can take on a challenging thing and say, I'm going to challenge or volunteer in a certain place, and I know very well that I have to wake up at 7 or I have to wake up earlier and go to that place where I'm answerable to someone. I have had people do that, by the way, that they've told me, you know what, I have a lot of laxity in my life and I want to beat that, so I want to get a job where I can be challenged to wake up early. People have taken on challenges, but you can set up systems and say, I will wake up at this time, and then this is what I will do. The moment you orchestrate the things that you're going to do, because half the time we sleep too much because there is a lazy morning, there is nothing really demanding to do, and then whatever you need to do alone. So whenever you say, there is no accountability, I'm not annoying anyone, and I'm not keeping anyone at standstill. That is why people go to their shops. She's the boss, she's the owner of the business, she shows up at 11, where people have already made money very early in the morning, okay? And so they are not challenging themselves, they're not setting up the systems that they need. That is why some people have decided, okay, I'm going to do gym in the morning, because why? I have an instructor, and I wouldn't want to annoy this instructor, because this instructor is going to be there waiting for me, and so I have to be able to be in that place. I have this book project coming on. I'm not going to do it alone. I'm going to entrust so and so to work with me, and I'm going to tell them, let's meet at this time every day to make sure. So my first assignment on that day, I'm going to be doing this, and I have accountability partners, because if I am not there, they will call me, and I don't want to annoy them because they're helping me, so I'm going to make sure that I show up. Is it a church thing that they have something that they do in the morning? As in, you take on something to just make sure that you challenge your system and reprogram, because at the end of the day, you have to reprogram your system. Sleeping, just like the Bible says, invites poverty. It invites, yes, I know that we are working so hard to get the freedom that we want, but my friend, while you still have the strength that you have right now, why would you sleep like a 60-year-old? And in this generation, have you seen what the 60-year-olds look like? A 60-year-old looks like a 30-year-old. A 60-year-old is hitting the gym at 7 a.m. A 60-year-old is dieting and eating on point, and they're putting on better than, my goodness. I don't know what's happening in the world. 60 is the new 40 or the new 30. And then here you are at 30 or 20s, you are busy stretching in your bed. And the Bible says that that is how poverty will come sneaking up on you as you enjoy the slumber. Okay, so I want you to be able to take yourself out of that comfort, because there is no growth. And you know it. By the time you mention it, you know that it's a growth gap and there is no growth in that zone. But if you need growth, there are so many things that you should have done in that space, but you are not doing. Okay, so our time has come to an end, and I should be able to leave this place. Oh my God, we're even past time. But I have loved this session. I have loved collaborating with you. You saved a soul, Mama. Thank you. Coach, how best can I do away with procrastination? I think we should start with that. That when we start, procrastination is something that procrastination is not because we are busy and so we are pushing things aside. No, half the time you are not busy, but you cannot bring yourself to do a particular thing. And I want to be able to explain the knowledge and the psychology of it. But again, I usually love keeping time. I don't want to keep you here because I know there's so many of you that are married, that are home with your children, home with your husbands, and you can't be on this live for this long. But I've enjoyed the time that we have shared together. So I'm going to make sure that I answer some of these questions because they are going to stay on. I'm going to make sure that I go through them, and in our subsequent live session, I'll make sure that I respond to it so that I can explain why people procrastinate and how you can actually come out of that procrastination. But I love you, and thank you so much for being with me this evening. It's been nice enjoying an evening with you. It's been soothing to know that we are all enjoying our growth places and our growth journeys, and we shall continue to grow and bear fruits and be able to transform lives and change lives. I love you, John Chris Busulwa, thank you so much. Each one of us, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Annette Susan, thank you. I mean, you're amazing. I would love to read more of your writings. Thank you so much for saving such a valuable time. Thank you, Coach Fifi, Anna Kawere, our mentor of the year, and then our patron for the World Changers 2. Okay, World Changers 2 is coming to an end. We're soon graduating, but we are starting the Freedom Seeker journey is starting on the 30th, and it's going to be an amazing journey. While we conclude, as we conclude the World Changers 2, we're starting Freedom Seekers 2, and it's going to be an amazing, amazing, amazing journey. So thank you. Have a good night. From me to you is love you and bye-bye.